Everybody has a call, spontaneous, sudden knowing, this is what I should do. If you look at the graveyards, all those written things on it, millions of shoulds. I should have. I heard it. Why didn't I? They all heard it, but they didn't follow. You have to have some courage putting the heart into action.
Hey, Guy here. Today I chat with Thomas Young, wisdom teacher, mystic, and best-selling author, and is considered the voice of the heart. In over 2 decades, he has brought countless people into contact with the alchemical power of our heart. And today we dive deep into what it actually means to be living from the heart and listening to our soul's purpose and coming from that place. If you enjoy my conversations and you find yourself coming back for more, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed the conversation, and of course, leave me a comment as well. I read all my comments, and it's great to connect with the people that are actually coming through. And that way, of course, it continues to help me spread this message, as I truly feel these conversations need to be heard. Enjoy it. Let's go over to Thomas. Beautiful. Thomas, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Guy. I'm so pleased that you asked me for this interview. I'm looking forward to your questions. I'm providing heart-centered teachings here in Europe, the US, pretty much all around the world since 2 decades now.
Wow.
And running into remarkable people who have openings and experiences. And I love doing this work. I'm very passionate about opening the heart center.
I know, and that's why I invited you on the show, and I'm so happy you decided to join me today in this conversation, and you know, just to talk around that a little bit, which I want to dive into in a sec. But I ask everyone the same question on the show, and I'm always curious to know how we answer this, because I struggle with this question as well. But that is, if you were at a intimate dinner party right now, and you sat next to a complete stranger, and they ask you what you did for a living, what would you say?
I would say I open the hearts of people, and I love what I'm doing. I had a company when I was a young lad. I was studying. I was creating a company. I was shooting movies, comedies, in order to make people laugh, and selling that when I was 37. And because I felt that I'm able to do something like a soul talk from soul to soul. Mm-hmm. And when I was something like 29, I had experiences which in my bio, there was no background. I didn't have a meditation practice, but energies were shooting through my head, out of my breast, and they were making me blissful and accompanied by clairvoyant insights, which I suddenly had when I was talking to people. Now, at that time, when I was having that, not a lot of people were consciously working with the heart center, so to speak. Yes, there are a lot of spiritual lineages, ways, different sorts of things, but not specified to that. And then I went on a really on a quest to find people who could explain to me at that time how to evoke that consciously. So this is pretty much how I came into that work, is through grace, if you want, or through something. I stumbled into the mysteries, and then I went exploring.
Sorry to interrupt, but nothing activated that at the time? Were you just like sitting in a car and it just happened, or you started talking to people and you were just feeling it? Is that what was happening?
I was studying. I was very creative. I was on a search for meaning, yes, but I didn't have a practice. It just happened. Literally just happened. So, and then the only explanation I have for that sort of experience is there must have been something in other lifetimes sort of preparing you for that. But other than that, no. I also believe that there's a certain destiny in the biography of human beings, so that we come with a sacred dream, but that we forget about it and that we sort of remember it after a while. But at that point in time, I was just beginning to to look for orientation and I didn't have that much insight, which I have now after working with 2 decades on a very intimate level with a lot of different folks.
I can imagine, and because we didn't 20 years ago, we didn't have as much access to the internet either, and
You
like
know,
information doesn't come as obviously as accessible as now. Were
yeah.
you freaking out, or were you excited, or were you just like,
So
what the hell is going on?
I was excited.
Okay.
Um, and I ran into a very wise woman who accompanied me for 6 years, a deep trance medium. And I found an American mystic who was consciously evoking it through joy. And so both their influences were guiding me through the next, I had that at 28, through the next 9 years until I started teaching on my own, age 37. So basically, it's stumbling into the experience and then having the explanation afterwards, and not having a plan in mind and then thinking,
I know the
you
feeling.
know,
Yeah, incredible. And when you decided to, after the 9 years, and then you go, I want to start teaching this and get this work out there,
right?
from the, I'm just curious because a lot of people listening to this obviously wouldn't have had experiences like that. And
Yes.
it's like, wow, what do we do with them once we have them, So in those 9 years, if you could look back and distill it down, like what would be the key principles that you learned to get you to the point you go, oh, I've learned this wisdom and now I want to pass it on and teach it to others?
Well, first of all, I people have different access to the unknown or to wisdom or to what you don't know at this point in time. And I'm clairvoyant in a certain way, but I also have a very strong dream channel. So I was getting a lot of images and informations and pictures and movies seeing me speaking in front of audiences, not
Wow.
imagining it, just seeing it. And then I saw, well, to age 29, I don't have enough to say. I feel too young. I feel not wise enough, not this, not that. So I had this in those 9 years. It was constantly on the back burner. And until I felt mature enough, you're never probably really mature enough, or you'll never be perfect, but courageous enough, strong enough to step out in front of an audience
Mm.
and offer those teachings. And for people who were coming, they were right from the start deeply touched by what I was doing. And I had no comparison because I wasn't going into other workshops. That's the fun part about it. I was working with my one teacher, male, and with my one teacher, female, and that's it. And since that, I've never been on another workshop. And I've created a lot of books, CDs, meditations, and I always go with the questions: how may that serve the development of a person or a human being on its voyage on Earth?
Yeah.
And I get those wonderful um, themes or topics, which then I test and then give to people.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how
Beautiful.
I work.
And
I
what
I,
would be,
I got
please?
sorry, I got guided through a dream to Hawaii, for instance, 1998. I had a very profound dream where I also saw myself teaching with 200 people, but it didn't work the way I wanted it. There was not really spiritual energy in the teaching space. So I freaked a little inside in the dream. And then my teacher, this white-haired mystic, came and put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Relax, Thomas. You just forgot something in the beginning. So do this, do that, announce a pause, and then it will just vibrate." And he was right. I did it. Then he said, "Well, come with me. I want to show you something." So he took me to a compartment in that venue, and he was performing a healing ritual with a woman. who was sitting in front of him, and another male healer in the back of her. So she was in between on a meditation cushion. And she had one hand like this and the other hand to the back. And he was just putting his fingertips on hers, like this.
Yeah.
And creating a very subtle electrical current. And she fainted. And he said, "Well, that's normal. Don't worry, Thomas. This is normal. They all faint." And did some healing on her. And then he said, "Can you, while I'm performing this healing ritual, see one of my guides in my aura?" And I said, "Bro, I cannot see auras." "Yes, you can. No, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't." "Why don't you try it?" So he was getting angry. He said, "Before I, go on a beef with a mystic, I rather try." And suddenly I could see a face. It looked brownish with black hair, very like full face, was grinning and greeting me. And end of dream. And I woke up and I thought that was a Hawaiian. And then it's like, what are you doing with that? Are you just thinking, oh, it's a night's dream? For me, it was always like my dreams were guiding me. And I was strongly believing in the content of that material. So not only did I try out this healing technique in my own workshops when they come through like that, but also next morning I went to Hawaii. Where I went to the travel agency and said, "Fly me to Hawaii." So 3 weeks later, I was in Hawaii in 1998, and I ran into that face in my dream. A Hawaiian kahuna, and his name was, he died 2 years ago, Alan Alapai. And he was like the holder of a lineage of healers, the chosen one out of 12 siblings from his grandma, who was the holder of the lineage. And since age 6, he was initiated into those mysteries, and he was performing like temple massages, 5 hours long, blowing the aloha into your third eye and praying over you, chanting over you. It was just like being initiated into Hawaii. And I had the privilege to have one of these massages, and 2 hours in the massage, we hadn't met before. I was turning around and said, "Alan, I saw you in my dream 3 weeks ago." And he went like, and he had short hair. I said, "But you had long hair like this." And he got tears in his eyes and said, "My brother, I had long hair like this 3 weeks ago. I just got it off." And he was so touched because his grandma, since he was 6, 8 years old, had once prophesied to him he would, when he was more older and more mature, bring the aloha to Europe. And he had gotten many invitations by many very, very famous people, but never took it because he had waited for a sign from an inner sphere. And I was coming, not knowing about anything, and said, "I dreamt of you." And as you said, there was no internet at that point in time. I've never seen that face before, and it was never on the net or somewhere. So that was his sign. And then later on, I was guiding him to Europe, actually to Italy and to Greece. And we had some really remarkable experiences there, because he was such a blessing for so many people in Hawaii. And then one time he went to a hypnotherapist into hypnosis, and they, in hypnosis, he would start to speak Greek and see temples. And he wanted to go to Greece. He said, "Well, come with me to Italy, where I do my retreats, the heart initiations, the 10-day workshops. You offer your massage work, and then we go to Greece, to Delphi, to this oracle spot, and so on and so forth." So it's, if push comes to shove, and I don't know anything, it will come in the night. And many, many times I had all the information in the night. Sometimes my brain gets overloaded. So spirit has a little of difficulty to reach me, although I'm quite reachable. But then it comes in the night. So for me, it's very safe.
Incredible.
I go out teaching. I don't know what I will say. And I have a rough concept about maybe a talk, maybe a lecture, maybe a weekend, but I'm very open to what comes through and then what we will do.
And follow
This
from
is
that
the way
pattern.
I
Yeah.
teach.
Amazing.
Yes.
You've opened so many questions already and loops. And there's the first thing I thought, how freeing is it to be having dreams and messages that are so important and real and have significance that you just get up and book a flight the next day. I think there's a lot of us in us that wish that we were that free to be doing that. And I often wonder if we were all living more from that place.
Well, I think we all get those dreams, or maybe have those inspirations. It's like we are all called in a way. So we have this ancient motive of the call. So you get a call. Well, how do you get a call? Is it someone calls you on the phone? Probably not. You get it on an inner sphere, either through a dream, a meditation, an insight. But the second step is very important. You have to trust that call. I mean, Joseph Campbell, the big American mythologist who studied maybe every religion, spiritual path, shamanic way of mankind, and found out we are actually, when it comes to the evolution of consciousness, following a monomyth, starting with a call. The gods are different in Hawaii with the Celts, the Tibetans, the Egyptians, the Greek, so to speak. But the faces are the same. And it starts with a call. You get a call. But call means you have to follow your highest dream or your sacred dream. And you have to have the guts, the courage to trust into something where you don't know at that point in time how it will work out. You have, so to speak, to leave in a certain way your village, your habits, your fixations, your obsessions, your this is and that into the unknown. Then you get supernatural support in the monomyths. Then you go deep into the unconscious. You have to slay a dragon because he's sitting on the gold treasure, or to go into the unconscious, like finding the heart in the darkness. Why should I do it? I want to meditate up. No, you also are an emotional being, a sexual being. How much self-respect, self-worth do you have? How much clan information is there to be transformed? So you have to have the guts to go deep. In the mystery school teaching, the wisdom teaching I provide, we have three major movements. One is going down into your very depths, finding your heart in the darkness, so to speak. And one is going up, reconnect with your sacred dream. And then how do you bring it into the world? So going down, going up, and going out, if you want, out and about, as you say, probably, and speak from that and bring it to the people.
Beautiful.
And so even if you have reached certain stages of enlightenment or breakthrough, I think the fulfillment is not sitting in the cave and blissfully grinning yourself into nirvana, but then something happens and you're sort of forced to bring back the boon to the communities. So this sort of passage, which I just shortly described, Campbell found out that we have it in every culture. It's like a map for the evolution of consciousness in the collective, but also in the individual. So what you said is everybody has a call coming on the inner, coming in a dialogue, or suddenly you remember something, you get an insight, spontaneous, sudden knowing, this is what I should do. And if you look at the graveyards, all those written things on it, millions of shoulds.
Yeah.
I should have. I heard it. Why didn't I? Or if you listen to some people who work with prison inmates, Judith Orloff, American psychic, went to a prison in Sacramento and said, asked those 400 women, uh, women prison, well, didn't you hear a little voice before you went out for that bank robbery or before you got involved with that strange guy? 400 arms go up. They all heard it, but they didn't follow. So it's not just about hearing it. As you said, it's not freedom. I think it's also, you have to have some courage, courage, putting the heart into action. A lot of people in the spiritual field, because they first do this movement, outer reality is not everything. They go to the inner, yes, but you also have to go out again and not play it against each other. It's like pressing in and out. So you have to, if you have to have a call, you have to follow through and just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I resonate with everything you just said there. And funnily enough, when I decided to sell my company and step into more into the alignment of what my heart was coming through, courage was my word.
Yes.
And I actually wrote it down because I realized I lacked courage to do it. I was, even though I was having the experiences and I was having these insights and a peek behind the veil, if you like, I was just in a place where I was, but the human part of me was just shitting himself. So it's like, no, but I trusted in something so much bigger that wanted to come through. And the moment I had the courage to act upon it, here I am today, 3.5 years later, 4 years later, and things that can just continue to keep unfolding and moving, which is incredible,
Yes.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
With all your experience and wisdom and what you've gained and you continue to, as you've evolved, do you believe that we all have a soul's calling or a soul's purpose?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure about it. I work on such a deep level with beings or souls, and I strongly believe that, it's not a belief, maybe it's a knowing. For me, it's a knowing that we have a teleology. So telos, Greek, like a dream, a goal, in a certain way of making this wonderful, remarkable experience on Earth. So it's just about remembering it. It's like if you are an oak tree, well, your teleology will be to become an oak tree, a small one, a big one, a crippled one, a whatever one. You will not become a birch or a plum tree or whatever. But that thing, if you know what it is, life becomes very beautiful because you're in alignment with what your soul wants to experience. It can be very simple. It can be like becoming a mother because you never did it before. Maybe you have 10 lifetimes as a nun. Or it can be, in my case, it's working with a word. I have an access to language, which I cannot explain. It was always there, but I never had the guts to speak it out. I was very shy when I was younger, with a lot of performance anxieties, I would say. Today I'm speaking in front of 100, 1,000, and it's very natural. So, and there's another one who has the green thumb, who's very likes to work with plants, or a healer, or there was one thing, little story. I was at a big New Year's gathering with my teacher in those days, 1999 or something. And I wasn't teaching at that point in time, 1998. I wasn't teaching. So I went there and I was sitting with like 8 people in a large dinner hall in a round table. And opposite of me was an American lady, and we all had name tags. And she had a name tag where her name was written. It said Bibi. And I never heard about that name. So I asked, well, that's a nice name. What does it mean? And how did you get that name? And she said, oh, Thomas, she was in her 50s. When I was a baby, my older brother couldn't pronounce the word baby right. So he said Bibi, and it stuck with me. Since that, everybody was calling me Bibi. Okay. So she just said it. Then her daughter, 21 years old, rushed into the conversation and without any limits spoke immediately and said, "Mom, look outside." She looked through the glass window. This lady there, and she could see a maybe 70-something-year-old lady like sitting like this, like a stick. She's an angel channeler, and she just channeled my guardian angel. And I could put one question forward, and she was glowing. And then Bibi said, "I want that too." Went outside, and you could see from the inside that something, not 5 minutes, she was just sitting there in front of that lady. Her aura, her field started to glow, and she came back like, and I said, "Well, what happened outside in this 5 minutes?" And she said, "Well, Thomas, this lady said who my guardian angel is, his name, and so on, and I was allowed to put one question forward." And I said, "Yeah, what question?" "Well, I love to be in the spiritual retreats and conferences. And then there are all these wonderful speakers and therapists who have invented a new form of therapy, and healers who have a new way of healing, and bestseller authors. And I'm just massaging people from 9 to 5, but I like to be in that energy because I can feel it." So my question was to this angel channel, and what is my purpose in life? And the answer from that angel channel to her was, "Well, Bibi, your purpose in this lifetime is just to be. And for you to remember that, your whole life, your older brother started to call you B, when you were a baby." And when she got her name explained like this, she was glowing. And then I went like, "I want that too." I went outside, sat in front of that channeling lady, and I was looking into eyes which were really like sparkling brighter than the universe, and very, never saw those eyes again. And she said, "Hello, hello." She said who my guardian angel was, and I was allowed one question. And I didn't have a question about my purpose. I had that. But I had a question about partnership, soulmates. So I asked her, "Well, is there, for me, Thomas, in this lifetime, someone like a soulmate? And if yes, name, telephone number, and address." And she was cracking up and said, it went into and said, and then she comes back with the answer and said, "Well, the answer is this: Dear Thomas, your soulmate is not available at the moment." And I was like, shit, what is that for an answer? Not available at the moment. But we are working on her. And that answer, like the one who will fit your energy perfectly, is not available, but they are working on her, made me crack up. And many times when I was being on my path, on my own, I was just going back to that moment, and they will work it out. And it worked out later. So I always run into something. I get an information. I get a dream. I get a situation with a certain kind of openness, and then it guides me through my life. And after a initiation, which today I offer 10-day initiatory retreats where people are getting a heart initiation, very, very powerful. I was getting one in Arizona in 1997. And that sort of propelled me into a space where I could see my life back and forth. Space I never had explored before. complete clarity, no illusion. I could see it like these diagrams. If you go this way, then this fork will come, and if you go this way, this fork will come, or you go that way, and this fork will come. Like all the different possibilities you have based on your decisions. And it is as if one of those passes through this diagram, carries the most powerful light, and has the most heart to it. So my intent is to walk that one. I cannot guarantee that I'm always on it. Maybe I'm sometimes a little off, then I move back and course correct. But my intention is 100% pure. This is the way I want to live my life.
Wow. And on your 10-day heart initiations, I'm fascinated by heart initiation, and it's the heart that you work
Yes.
into. Do you mind talking a little bit more to that? And
Yes.
also, 10 days, what would you get at? Like, by the end of the 10 days, is that what we would get out of it, by seeing that sole purpose, that line, that light, that, I guess, thread to
That
follow?
was probably an experience which I had. But what you would get is, when we are talking about the heart or the heart center, most people talking about it in a very metaphorical sense. Power of the heart, spirit of the heart, all sorts of, let's say, linguistic references. But in this 10 days, people will have an experience, a referential experience, where for the first time in their life, in this strength or in this sort of vibration, they will have it vibrate here, and they will feel completely blissed through. And this I guarantee them. And once they are open enough, like they don't consciously go against it, I will get them there. It's like a choreography. I have some very challenging exercises, which are thought to open them up, and some very uplifting exercises. And it's all culminating in the last 4 days, where I will do with them and the group and the individuals those initiations. And it's all about becoming receptive enough, to open enough, courageous enough, fearless enough, risking that you do not have the control of the situation in that sense. Because the ancient idea of initiation is, you come as a person, you go into something which we would call the threshold, and then you have to jump on your own into something transpersonal. You come as the ego threshold, you receive the full blessing of the soul. That is the ancient idea. And in those 10 days, this ancient motive is put into real life physical experience. And that once you have that signature of how it vibrates, how it feels, you then afterwards can reconnect in your daily meditation practice and sort of weave it into your everyday endeavors. Because my take on spirituality is not, oh, we have some highlight experiences on a seminar, and then, everyday life we're living something completely different. And I don't mean that you have to have a spiritual lifestyle. You can live as a soldier, a banker, but it's all it all comes down: does your way have a heart or not? No matter where you are or what you are. And that in the past, we have a tendency to play spiritual ways against each other. We have the immanent ways who say, well, you are already there, you just have to notice it, so to speak. The Vedanta ways. We have the transcendent ways, where they say, you are here, 7 steps, and then there's enlightenment, 9 milestones, 8 gates. And then we play it against each other. But I think nowadays we I very much speak for a third way, which is not to be or to do, but to become who you really are, to become that which is already um, as a blueprint in yourself, and through your decisions, you become a stronger oak tree or plum tree or birch tree or whatever it is, which is in you as a sacred dream, wants to weave itself into
Yeah,
the world.
beautiful. It really is, isn't it? It's for me, I've found it's really about becoming aware and checking in with yourself on a daily basis, because we can lose sight, like you say. We can have practices and we can do it, but there's a I've found there's a way of having to embody those practices, so they show up in your actions and your intent, and the very things the choices that you make on a daily basis, where the real rubber meets the
Yes.
road, kind of thing, you know.
We said a very important word, embodying, because I also noticed that in the 80s, 90s until 2000, there were a lot of spiritual movements targeted with the idea of leaving the body. They wanted
Hmm.
to ascension mysteries. They go into a light body, go into the fifth dimension, leaving the body, waiting for the next starship to come, whatever the idea was. Since 2000, there's another movement which is much more focused on embodying. And what I'm doing is, and I'm a speaker of that sort of movement, if you want, because I know how it is if you go out. Yes, we will go out when we die anyway. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it. But bringing heaven down to earth, bringing spirit into matter, bringing the soul, the presence of the soul, the full presence into the body and into our lives, that is, from my perspective, uh, almost like the next evolutionary step of mankind. So embodiment and being fully incarnated, if you want. I believe there are stages of incarnation which we haven't yet reached, that we could become more consciously incarnated in the body, being able to heal with our thoughts, being able to maneuver the forces of our heart or our spirit in the body and perform things which we now call miracles, which in a couple of decades will be, through practice and training, be everyday's business. So we are like putting away the veils of mysteries which were covered since centuries for human beings. That makes this time very special and adventurous. And we are also maybe the tip of the scale of the evolution of Gaia or the planet, because we have the power to blow it up and destroy it, or
Yeah.
not. Or we will be, I don't know, controlled by artificial intelligences, which we created as human beings in 2050. So there are a lot of
Crossroads.
things right now which are decided by humans, individuals, and collectives, which are very, very important. Everybody
Yeah.
is important. Every heart is important. So we are like a net of little light sparks around the earth. Every heart of an individual being radiating like this or like this or like this. But every heart is important, because that, sorry, that is like an energy which the earth needs to heal at this point in time, from my perspective. There's an ancient prophecy 5,000 years ago from the Hopis, which said, in a time when when Gaia, the mother, the earth, will shed their tears, the rainbow warriors will stand up and speak. And that time is now. We all have to become, in a certain way, that rainbow warrior of the heart, of the soul, of the spirit. We have to speak up and not let duller voices which are loud but have a dull consciousness, let them spoil that planet.
I hear you. The
I'm not a politician. I'm working with the individuals, but I think in the end, it's all tied together.
100% it is. Absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. With your experience, because you've been doing this work over a long period of time, you would have seen changes
Yes.
in, I'm guessing, the way people are turning up to this work. Are you finding more and more people are just open and ready to embrace this work, say now than they were 10 years ago? Is that happening? Yeah.
Yes, I would say so. And I would say also through this, what you are doing, podcast, online congresses, all these topics are going into niches which they haven't covered before. Yeah. So in that sense, yes, more and more people are coming. I think I also have my marketing team. They always say to me, well, there's still way more women than men doing it in the whole spiritual book market, online market, this and that. And that's maybe a little bit of a pity, because I think that there are so many men having courageous hearts. They just don't know how to deal with that spiritual linguistics, so to speak. They have another way to express it, to protect a family or to provide something, or to being this carpenter with a golden heart. That is not seen as spiritual, but from my perspective, it is highly spiritual. However, such a person would probably not find the way into a heart workshop where it's about spirit and spirituality, because the linguistic doesn't sound familiar to him. So that's a little bit of a pity, I feel sometimes, because I like to work with men and women alike. And it's always great if groups are having both.
It's massive. It's massive, isn't it? And I have to say, like, this podcast is been phenomenal in terms of people just tuning in their own time, listening to when they're in traffic. They don't have to tell anyone. They're like, oh shit, I'm going to tune into this hippy dippy Welshman that's out in Australia talking about these conversations, or that maybe in their mind. But when they're there listening,
yes,
there's a genuine conversation, there's a genuine heart connection, and there's, I think, a deeper understanding. And for me, it's so important, especially as a man as well, to be having these conversations and putting them out freely to people to start to tune in and listen to it, and hopefully encourage them to come and look at this work more. I mean, we've had ex-policemen, we've had ex-boxers, we've had I'm an ex-rugby player, like it's, and as far as I'm being Welsh, but this has been by far the hardest and most courageous path to take, but it's also been the most rewarding and beautiful, and has allowed me to find more purpose in my life than I would ever have dreamed of when I first started life. And I'm like, it's too good not to tell people at the end of the day.
I think a lot of people who are also working with people, like in psychiatry, in the healing professions, as nurses, doctors, if they could switch over to transpersonal energy, they would not burn out. And what you just said with all the examples of the different folks, we were educated as kids not to use transpersonal energy. We were just using personal skills, but not the accesses to transpersonal energies, which are endless. There's no limit to it, limitless. So once we connect to that, we have a different access. And the other thing is, how can we decondition ourselves from structures which are limiting us? Those may be emotional habits, physical habits, things which go through family clans since 2-4 generations. I have a piece of work called 7 Generations, where I conduct a 3-hour workshop with very strong ceremony, where people locate in the physical system informations which are no longer beneficial to the unfoldment of their soul, coming out of the family lineages. Not meaning that we judge the parents or the grandparents, not at all. Being very thankful that we have this gift of our body, but at the same time, realizing that the informations they have, they are not always beneficial at this point in time. We are a generation, called the upcoming generations, which are transforming in one lifetime more than others in 20. It's enormous, and we cannot work with those techniques or experiences which people before us had. And if you look at that there are certain families where you have always the same sort of cancer, always the same sort of religious narrowness, always the same sort of greediness for money or suicidal behavior or addiction or even attitude towards God or not God or clairvoyance or not, or this and that. And if you detect it and transform it through 7 generations, you can free yourself up in a pretty remarkable way, deconditioning yourself and becoming way more free and who you really are, beyond the fact that you have a body which has been implemented with information from the female lineage and the male lineage.
And how liberating is that? And then you realize you connecting
That's
back to
cool.
your true self.
That's
like,
cool.
Oh, there's more of me in here.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You are not bound to relive the same disease or the same tragedy or the same thing which your forefather did or your grandmother, whatever. And then that goes very deep. Here in Germany, where I also do a lot of teachings, everybody has World War II and World War I in his genetics. So let's say you are now 20-year-old woman, you fall in love with a wonderful Russian doctor, but your grandma has been raped by Russians. Wow. And it's in the genetic. So there's your heart for your lad, for your guy, and there's an information in yourself which says, every Russian is bad, so to speak. So things like that around money, around nations, around gender-based prejudices, money-based prejudices, spirit-based, religious prejudices, informations about how to become ill or not. I studied that also in my lineage, and I must say, the male lineage carries some information which is not beneficial at all for me. They have they have a habit which I really don't like, because that habit is they never become older than 39 and they always die with a head injury. Wow. Now here I incarnate, happy camper, and age 38, I hear it talking in myself, well, Thomas, why don't you put yourself out of the window while you drive and run against a lantern or something, milepost. It's like you have informations which you don't know about. you don't know anything about. And I did that work with so many people. It's very, very freeing because you can really locate this information in the physical system, and you can also
Amazing. Do you do that in group
sort of flush
settings
it
or
out.
just one-on-one, or?
I do that with 100,
Amazing.
200, 300 people in a space, and it's very, how do you say, it takes a lot of strength. People are really exhausted afterwards, but
Wow,
blessed.
incredible. I ask everyone questions on the show, which I'm going to ask in a sec. But before I jump in, I'm fascinated as well because you have a lot of workshops. Like I was looking on your website today, I was like, boy, Thomas keeps himself very busy.
Yes.
And
I think I created 180 different workshops
wow,
in the
wow.
last decades or something. I decided to use my creative juices for this kind of work.
And one caught my eye, and I don't have conversations on the podcast much, but I just want to raise it, and even if you just speak to it for a few minutes, was the pineal gland.
Yes.
You got a workshop,
Yes.
3-hour workshop on the pineal gland. I think you call it pineal gland. Is it
Yes.
tomorrow?
Actually, I do one tomorrow in 5 work.
What's drawn you to do a workshop on that?
Well, it's the same thing. I stumble into an experience.
Right.
Well, of course, I was working with a third eye all my time, but I was not putting special dedication or focus on the pineal gland because I have a scientific background. I have an MA, yes. Also worked on university for a short period of time, but I'm more interested in those experiences and not in our thoughts about it. So 2014, I went with a group of consciousness pioneers to Arizona and Sedona, and we were doing a workshop called Great Mystery. And sitting on Native American Indian land, Bell Rock, it's called a vortex. And I was meditating for 2 hours with that group. And all of a sudden, very unexpected, in that meditation in front of my inner eye, a Native American Indian delegation appeared, 3-4 people, and they showed me a healing technique. And that is something which is not normal for me. I don't go into nature and people appear and show me something. And it's also not imagined because I was sitting there like completely open, but not thinking about anything. It was just there. And that healing technique implied to imagine a drop over your crown, a drop, liquid drop, and you should slowly, very slowly, let it sink into the center of your head and keep it there. And for that, you should sort of imagine a frame or a containment where it would be the center of it, a sort of containment. It could be like this, it could be all around the world, but that should be the center. And you should keep with your consciousness this drop in that space in the middle of the head. That sounds pretty strange. How can I keep a drop not from just dispersing? But that was the technique. And I was so touched by it. I was crying and sort of thing. And then I was writing a meditation on it and practicing it with people. And then I realized, well, that's right where the pineal gland is. So I kept researching the pineal gland and found, of course, different techniques from other ways, from yogic ways, from special techniques where you can connect it with your breath and sort of milk it because it has this piezoelectric effect and so on and so forth. So in my life, it's like this. I make an experience and then I study. It has always been like this. And I feel so blessed that it works like this because that makes the teaching very fresh. You know, I don't have like a scratch board. Oh, I have to do this theme or that topic. They all like. Once another workshop, I sit with a lot of people in a retreat called Sacred Heart Initiation 10 days. And suddenly everybody who's sitting there speaks of their terrible relationship to their mother. Danke, danke, danke. And I say, oh my goodness, now they are here all together. So in that moment, I have to create out of that problem or challenge or space a ritual, a ceremony, a meditation, which is called mother healing. And then later I study, why do people have such terrible relationships, or how can I do a workshop without it? But it always comes first, the topic comes to me through a situation, and then I do a workshop.
Amazing. It's truly amazing. It's so liberating as well. Yeah. And like we said at the start of the podcast, it's so freeing when you come from this place and work from that place. Yeah.
I once met in Switzerland, I met a guy from Holland who said, I was in Arizona as well. I was camping with my daughter, and we were just outside of the cells, tent, preparing breakfast. And I heard a voice, step 5 meters in front of you right now. And you just took the daughter and did it. And then a huge boulder crashed on the tent. So it's like, and since that, he believes in God in a different way. So it's like we are all connected to those spheres, levels, dimensions, which you may call higher self, spirit, soul, God, however your belief system is. And I invite people from all sorts of belief systems. I don't mind. There's a Christ, there's a Buddhist, there's a Hinduist, there's a shaman, there's an atheist in my course. I all invite them to do the exercises and then to give a feedback how it was for them. And some exercise may be good for you, but not good for me. And the other is good for me, but not for you, because we are different. But there always will be some which will deeply touch you to the core. That's the idea of coming together. Why should we come together? Lecturing can be done on the internet or in a book. But if you want to make an experience, you have to come together in a certain way and just go for it and jump into it and be courageous and free about it, and don't care about what the teacher says or things, and just do it for yourself.
True that, man. True that. Beautiful.
That's how we do it.
Thomas, I ask a few questions on the show, and I'd love to know before we wrap things up. And one is, what does your morning routine look like?
My morning routine is I get up, shower, and then I do 20 minutes of heart-centered meditation practice every morning before I go for breakfast. Maybe I'll prepare a coffee because I like the smell in the room when I do it. But that's what I do. And that's also when I do longer retreats. We start at 7 and we do 20 minutes of meditation, having a look at the day will be, centering and the qualities of the heart, or just, I do it a little different every day, but that's how
I get different answers for this as well. But if you could have dinner with anyone from any time frame, anywhere in the world, or even have a few people and have a conversation, who do you think you'd have on there, and why?
I would like to talk personally with Tony Robbins, because I like him. I like his energy, and he has a certain gift, which I would describe as passionate certainty. And I love that. I would like to talk to him about it. So if he sees it, Tony,
that would be great. He'd be a good guy.
I'm here.
I have no doubt at all.
Yes.
What does the future hold for you, Thomas, right now? Like, the world's been turned upside down. You know that it's there's uncertainty everywhere. But what do you see yourself next 5-10 years, or is it literally day by day for you and just continuing to bring the work out?
Yeah. I would say for me, it's just the next step and being focused on that one. Of course, I could see myself teaching even more and um, maybe more in English-speaking countries. I will do that. But it's not that my mind is circling around it a lot. There's a very ancient motif by the Native American Indian tribes of the Southwest. It's called Man in the Maze. You see it on medallions. It's this man who's standing up, and then there's a maze. And the future is a little bit like a maze. You don't know it. It's unpredictable. And when you're in the maze, the thing is, your mantra is, or the mystery, the clue is, trust in your very next step. Always trust in the next step. It will be one step more to the center. So I do my part in developing heart consciousness all over the place. It can be through a book, through a talk, through a movie, through an online course. And I'm very passionate about exploring those techniques, which encompass healing, storytelling, oracular work, dream work. So it's very, as you noticed, broad, but there's a energetic thread in it, which is coming out of the heart. So I sort of weave on a golden thread out of the mystery school teachings, which I got from consciousness giants before me, and which I intend to give to other people after me. That's the way I see myself. So, and the other thing is something I may already have answered with that prophecy of 5,000 years ago. I think we all have to speak up. So this is my vision for the nearer future as rainbow warriors, because it is needed. Everybody has to speak from this part,
Rainbow
from this true
warriors.
self.
I love that. I'm going to remember that. Absolutely. And last question, Thomas. With everything we've covered on the show today, is there anything you'd like the listeners to leave the listeners to ponder on?
It's never too late to have a happy childhood. Well, no, really. We have so many stories about ourselves and what happened and how traumatized and this and that. But there's a space in yourself which is beyond all those stories. And you can touch into it. It's about becoming very present, connected to real energy. And this sort of happiness is a decision you make. It's a decision. It's not like a gift you get. It's a decision to become happy. So if I would have to say something as a last message is decide to become a happy camper. It's very much possible. No matter what. The earth comes down, the sky is exploding. No need to be unhappy until that very second.
It's a beautiful place to end the show, Thomas. Where can I send people to your website? I'll make sure I'll link in the show notes if people want to come and check out more of your work.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm assuming you've got things online as well, because obviously most of your workshops are in Europe, where most people here will be listening in Australia. But
you invite me over, I come, and
have you been to Australia?
We rock Australia. I've been to Brisbane for 1.5 hours on a flight to New Zealand.
You must come one day. It's a beautiful place. It really is. It really is. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I deeply appreciate it. It's been wonderful to connect with you. And I loved that conversation. And I have no doubt everyone listening today would have got a lot out of it too. So thank you.
We go, as we say in Hawaii, until we meet again.